Good day everyone. In this video I'm going to show you how to calculate the square root of any number from 1 to 99 million plus using Excel. Yes, using Excel application just as when you do it manually using pencil and paper. Let's get started. First thing, what is the square root of a number? It's a number that when multiplied by itself generates the given number. For example, if we say what will be the square root of number 9, it will be at 3 simply because 3 times 3 is 9. Okay, so that is what we call a perfect square root of a number because 3 times 3 generated 9 without decimals. All right. Now let's go to our square root solving problem. We are going to use the long method, okay, which is the method taught in schools when we were kids, and it teaches us to go finding our numbers step by step, number by number. First thing, okay, we are going to click over here in this blue rectangle over here. Your cursor goes to the left just under the bracket. That's the area where we have to insert our given number. Let's say 673,508.29. Enter. Okay, start reading. Your number gets separated in sequences of two numbers from right to left or from the decimal point in both directions. That'll be rule number 1. This number, we see the decimal point separates the number from the decimal to the right in sequences of 2 and then to the left. Sometimes the last digit finished or contains only one digit. If that is the case, it's because this number over here has an extra digit. All right. Now, let's go to step number 2, which is to click on the yellow rectangle over here. It takes our cursor to the top area where it says single digits. That's the area where we have to type or input our numbers to be calculated for our square root. Good, let's go to step number 3. Type a single digit which you think is the square root of the first given number in red and then press tab or enter key. This is the first number given in red. It happens to be a 67 and we are going to type on top the square root of that number. Forgot to mention, in order to do the square root you must know how to add, subtract, multiply and division. Okay. What will be the square root of 67? It will be a number 8. Type 8 on top, hit tab or enter, and then keep reading. The number below the red number is the number you typed above multiplied by itself. Okay, this number is simply the product of 8 times 8. Then the app subtracts that number from the red number and gives you the difference. 67 minus 64 equals 3. The difference will be calling it the result of the subtraction. Okay. The set of numbers to the right of the red number comes down and joins with the result. It becomes the blue number. That will be rule number 2. Okay, what it's telling us is that this new set of numbers gets dropped down, joins with this number, and forms the new number over there. Good. All right, your single digit on top gets multiplied by 2 and we obtain the green number. That will be rule number 3. Okay, it's telling us that the first number that we found, okay, the square root of 67, is going to be multiplied by 2. Always, we must multiply by 2 and we obtain a new number in green. That number is necessary in order to get our next calculation. Okay, let's go to step 4. Think of a number from 0 to 9 which, when aggregated to the right of the green number and multiplied by the chosen number 0 to 9 will yield the greatest number or product equal to or less than the blue number. Type it next to the last single digit at top. Okay, this is a little bit difficult over here, but you'll get it. Okay, probably you didn't understand a word of what I said, but let me show you in simple words and with the graphics and you will understand. It's telling us that we're going to think of a number to be aggregated to this green number over here. So if we think of a 0, it will become 160. If we think of a 1, it will be 161, and so on. But we just don't think. We have to really, put into effect mathematics over here, okay, or multiplication, in other words, okay. We see this number over here, and when we see this number, we think of a 160. How many 160 we can fit into 335? And we say 160 times 2 equals to 320. So that must be our number. Good, okay. Because only 2 times we can fit that number. We choose 2, we hit tab or enter, we get our 16 gets converted to 162 times 2 equals to 324. Subtraction happens again, gives us our result, which is lower. Generally, this number must be lower than this green number. There will be some exceptions, okay? Sometimes it will be equal or a little bit bigger, okay? But what happens if instead of a 2 we chose a 3, okay? Let's do that, okay? If we chose a 3, okay, our 16 becomes 163, and we multiply it this time times 3. It gives us a number too big for the blue number, and our result is a negative number. Let's read. If the result is a negative number, you went too high and you must recalculate the top last digit to be lower. So 2 is our number, and keep reading. If the result is greater than the green number, you probably went too low and you have to calculate the top last digit to be higher. Okay, we know that already. Great. Read the note again. In certain instances, the result can be allowed to be slightly greater than the green number. Okay, what we explained before. Now, after we hit over here our 2, the computer's brought the cursor just below our next number to be dropped. Let's read. Click on the next set of numbers to be dropped down, or if there is no more numbers, click above the highlighted square, okay? The square is right here. Our numbers to be dropped is right here. So we click there. It drops down the number. It forms the new number, okay? And we keep reading. The new green number on the left is the product of your single digits numbers multiplied by 2. That's rule number 5, which is really number 3 repeated, okay? But since it now had to take as many numbers as we have here, we take those 2 numbers and we multiply it by 2, okay? In this case, 82 times 2, 164. That's our new green number, which is necessary to obtain our next calculation. Now, let's read step 6, our last one, okay? Repeat step 4 to obtain the next calculation until you achieve 2 digits after the decimal point. Then click the blue circle to compare and verify. Okay, now that we understand this difficult part over here, we just start a repetition over here. We have to aggregate a number over here, so this 164 will become 1,640 something, okay? Here is where you have to have your 2 cents ready to work, okay? Your 2 senses. Okay, if this number happens to be higher than this number, we know that automatically it can't be done, so we add a 0, okay? In this case, is that, okay? When we add a number over here, this number will be higher. So our number over here will be a 0. 1,640 times 0 is equal 0. Okay? Because any number multiplied by 0 is 0. Our subtraction happens again. We get our result. Okay? We are in great shape. So remember that when we hit the 0, our cursor comes just below the next number to be dropped down. Okay, now take into consideration that the 29 over here is after the decimal point, okay? So we must add over here our decimal point, but we cannot just type a decimal point over here because it was not programmed to contain a point, just numbers. The computer will generate the decimal point over here automatically. That's the way I programmed it. But just for you to know, there is where the decimal points occurs. Okay, 3 things. When you do the square root by manually, you don't have to use this area because you just separate these numbers by highlighting, by underlining them in sequences of 2 according to the rules, or you can top line it. Okay. The second thing is we don't need this area because you'll be writing down your answer right directly above the bracket. And the third thing is that you will not be doing this extra operation, okay, because you will just write your number next to the result over here. Okay, knowing that, let's keep doing our operation. Okay, click the next set of numbers and we say how many 16s again we can fit. Think over here now as just the first 2 numbers. Okay, how many 16s we can fit into 110. Think of 3 numbers over here and we say, okay, you'll be about 6 or 7. Let's try 6. Okay, 6, enter. Okay, and the subtraction happens again, our result, and the computer brings us right here. Okay, the cursor comes down over here where there is no more numbers over here. If that is the case, is because we have to add a couple of zeros in order to find our last digit to be calculated over here. We know that it generated a 0, but the 0 is just waiting for the next number to be calculated over here. So we click above this little square. Okay, the computer generates a couple of zeros. Our next number gets generated. This whole number over here gets multiplied times 2. Okay, gives us the new green number. Okay, and then we have to calculate our last digit. Okay, so how many 16 we can fit into 123? You'll be 7. Okay, 7, enter. Okay, subtraction happens again. Our cursors come over here waiting for the next, but we don't have any more calculations to do because we obtained our 2 digits already. Great. Now we click on the blue circle as it says on step 4. Okay, and the computer will generate the exact square root. Okay, to be compared to our result. So we do that, and what happened over here? The computer gave us another number. Okay, the last digit is different, and you say, did I do something wrong, or the method is not working? What's going on? The computer must be crazy. Nope, it's not that. Just that the computer proceeds this next number to be calculated. If it happens to be any digit over here above 5, the computer will automatically assign the next digit up. Okay, the computer do that because the computer sees this number in the bottom. If this number in the bottom is more than half than this number green over here, then it happens. Okay, that's it. If you want to calculate another number, you just click over here. Okay, forgot to tell you that after we click over here, we get this yellow note. The computer's result might differ at the last digit. It happens sometimes because the system just rounded up the last digit. Okay, great. Now that we know that, okay, if we want to calculate the next number, we just click over here again. Everything clears up. If you like this exercise, this video, and you want to download the file, you can do so by clicking the link below. Just remember 2 things. You have to unblock it by right-clicking on the file, choosing properties, and unblock it, and then allow your macros to be enabled. Thank you very much. I hope you like it. Have a great day.